good, man? Number 18, baby.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Welcome to the podcast. But yeah, first things first, I gotta congratulate you.
Thank you, buddy. You know we wouldn't have won if I'd done this earlier.
So that was it. It was superstition. You didn't want to
Oh,
jinx it.
I'm from Boston.
I'm sure, but you know what? It is number 18 after all. So like you've been through this.
I have, uh, and that's the thing. My childhood is riddled with heartbreak and almost won it and competitive, but then not competitive or just getting stomped. So, and yes, some victories, but this millennium, we have to remember before 2000, the last time before the Celtics were dominant was at best the 80s and
Mm.
really more the 60s. Uh, and then we had '08, and that's fine. But really, the last couple of decades have been ruled by the Pats and the Sox. So the Celts were kind of the only glimmer of happiness in my childhood of Boston sports. So it's really nice to see him win one as a grown up. And of course, I love
Yeah.
that as well. But this one, it felt different. It felt different for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of it is the homegrown Brown Tatum thing. I mean, watching
Hmm.
those two grow up and be critiqued and split them up and da. And I'm just I've had a lot of fun watching this team.
Like, good. I'm happy. I'm happy you got to see that. And we'll talk more about the championship a little bit.
Totally.
Um, but the first things first, I like to do a little tip-off question. I'm curious
Yeah.
what you're listening to right now.
Yeah. Well, I just got, let's see, I tried, you heard of Chapel Rowan? I don't know how to say her name.
Absolutely, yes. She is the biggest thing right now.
Oh, is it okay? Yeah. I never know what anyone knows about these days because things are huge in like one tiny corner of the internet, but then the other corner of the internet hasn't heard it all and they've got their own
Yeah.
megastar.
Very
Um,
accurate. Yeah.
yeah. So I really don't know what her real world reach is. Where me and my sweetheart are huge drag race fans and drag fans
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan of queer art. I'm just a fan of art,
Mhm.
and it's cool to see different voices really hitting the mainstream. So that's neat.
Absolutely.
I checked that record. That was cool. I actually just checked the sort of Song of the Summer Carpenter single,
Hmm.
Sabrina Carpenter, and that was neat. Um, yeah, those are my main things. And then a lot of my listening is, for better or for worse, is related to my creating.
Yeah.
So I just got asked to do a Cure compilation. So I'm
Ooh.
going back through old Cure songs, trying out some deep cuts, but maybe I'm just
Mhm.
gonna go with a, you know, banger headliner. Um, so that is fun. And then yeah, honestly, just I don't listen to my music all the time because I think it is so great. I do have so much fun making it, and that's the main reason I do make
Mhm.
it is to listen to it. Prince once said in an interview, someone said, what have you been listening to lately? And he said, when I want to hear something funky, I write it. And so that's a little bit me. I just kind of make the noises I want to hear. But more than that, it's just that functionally there are only so many hours in the day, and I'm frankly creating so much that either I'm making it or I'm listening back to it. So there's not a huge amount of time for recreational exploratory listening. Uh, and I fucking hate algorithm listening. I just hate.
Oh yeah.
So it's really when a thing comes down the pike from a friend. Yeah, I just had a friend recommend that I at least be curious about the last fuck's her name? Kesha record.
Mhm.
Um the one that Ruben did. And it is a weird ass record. The last thing I'd heard
Mhm.
by Kesha was Praying, I think, that ballad. And I thought, that was cool and weird. And this record makes that sound like timber. I mean, the new one is weird. I mean, I respect it for going for it. I think she is one of those big marquee artists that wants to be sort of emo and thoughtful and arty
Sure.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And she just can't quite pull it off, but it's sweet to hear her try.
Uh, yeah,
Anyway,
definitely.
so those are the
So,
things on my head. But yeah,
cool.
really, it's only when a friend recommends something I go and I check it out, and then I go back to making my own music. And I
Sure.
don't really do the thing of like every time I do a thing where I start one of the streaming things with something I do want to hear, it just never fails that sort of 3 to 5 songs beyond that, I have no idea how the algorithm got me
Yeah.
to where I am, but I do not like whatever I'm
I
hearing.
I feel like I've noticed it almost seems like, they'll pick up what you generally like, and like no matter what you're listening to, it'll somehow work its way back to like the same five things that you might keep listening to.
Yeah, it's just terrifying.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
just really sad that music listening has turned into this, for me. It's I mean it's okay. I don't lose sleep over it,
Right.
but goddamn,
Well,
I miss a mixtape made by a human being that thought of me.
well, that is, I mean, one thing I try to do is I always try and make recommendations for people. And
Cool.
one
Yeah, well,
thing
give
I'm
me
doing,
some. Shit. Yeah, you're
well,
doing all
one
the
thing I'm
time.
doing with this podcast is I'm taking recommendations from guests too. So I'm going to do this collaborative playlist where every guest recommends one song to add to the playlist. So do you have a song that you would like to kind of add to that playlist?
Mm.
It's a bold one to put on the spot. Maybe you were going to go with Chaperone.
I mean, honestly, it didn't. I'm happy she's out in the world, but there was nothing that really lit me up. The Eat Me Out tune or whatever is cool, but I presume most people have heard that one if she's as popular as she turns out to be. And there weren't any deep cuts where I was like, "Ooh, this is the one." I
Hmm.
think I would say sh- won't work for these purposes. I would say to anyone, check out the record, check out the whole
Yeah.
thing, check out this voice, check out this young person doing a thing.
Hmm.
Uh, I think I will say there's a Bay Area rapper called Frack. He's centrally a battle rapper, but he drops different singles at different times. And he did a tune called Gelato a little while back that is still stuck in my head. And
Okay.
he's done a bunch of stuff since then that's really cool too. But for whatever reason, uh, yeah. So I'll go ahead and say my nomination for the track list is that's not related to me.
That's
It's
absolutely perfect. That's fine.
uh, is Gelato by Frack, Frak.
Sweet. Love that. Can't wait to listen to it too. Um, but as you mentioned, you're spending a lot of time creating. What are you up to? What are you making right now?
Man, I'm hopefully just finished scoring an indie film
Cool.
that, yeah, I'm really psyched about it. It was really fun to create that way. I've done it a few times over the years, but not regularly at all.
Hmm.
And that was really satisfying. And I hope they like it and don't make me beat it to death with
Yeah.
doing it over again. Uh, I I'm always I literally have a thing called Always New. I really should have invented Patreon because back in 2000, I started doing a monthly thing where I would just do a song and a little web page every month and
Hmm.
thoughts about every month, and people would send me a little money. And so I took a break for a while when I was really torn a bunch and it was tough to keep up. But now that I'm settling down a little bit more with the crazy touring, I've resurrected Always New. So that's a really fun thing, and it's just a really lovely thing to. None of these recordings ever get shared on these streaming services. They're just shared through my site, and there's cool little playlists that I make for people, and so it's really fun making music for a limited number of people who are at least somewhat interested in it because they're interested
Hmm.
in what I'm making, whether or not they like the actual tune of the month. But what I love about the way it's turned out for me is that it seems like people are just sort of curious for me to keep going and see what happens next. And I love that. So always
Yeah.
new stuff. I've been making a ton of that stuff. And it's really fun to look back after a couple of years and go, oh my gosh, 30 songs. And they're 30 songs that are many of them will be re-recorded for future records. So it's a kind of
Sure.
a I share with people. It's sort of like the start of one line drawing. I just share with people the demos I'm doing and we see where it leads. So there's that. Uh, I did recently a comp called by an artist called Plutocracy. Well, his name is Scott Morrow, but his band name or whatever, his one line drawing name is Plutocracy Planet, Plutocracy Planet. And we did a fucking noisy, weird
Oh, sick.
0 to 100. Yeah, it's like the wildest I've ever screamed in my life, and it feels lovely to be doing that in my 50s to be like fucking crushing it.
Hell yeah.
Um, so yeah, anyone who wants to hear that Grandpa Emo can still fucking bring it, go check out
There we
But
go.
But You Said by Plutocracy Planet. That's cool. And then on the heavier side too, I've been singing with this band, Sons of Alpha Centauri. They're from the UK, so we don't tour, do anything, and we've really only hung out a few days in our lives, all in the recording studio.
Mhm.
But they send me stuff and give me a little loot, and I sing on it and we talk about it together. And so it's ended up turned into a couple of records. And so we just fit, one of those just came out. So I've been checking that out and thinking about them and thinking about new
Sweet.
stuff with them. And, it's just a never ending sort of fountain of ideas for me. And I'm really happy about that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that's definitely like that's kind of how you want it to be, right? You just like
It's how I always wanted it to be. I mean, I
yeah.
think some artists might want to wait 4 years and make Abbey Road over and over and try and do their thing. And
Yeah.
I dig it. I've nothing but love for that, and that's how some really incredible records are made. And for me, I'm just an animal that I just like making stuff. I like sharing it. I'm not really into the big payday thing. I'm more
Hmm.
into, can I do this slow and steady wins the race?
Yeah.
Can I have an actual conversation with people? And speaking of which, I do want to shout out Iodine Records because they recently put out Sketchbook, which is a bunch of recordings I made in 99 to 2001,
Cool.
um, that is really the beginning of this whole adventure that I'm still on. And so it's been really lovely to go back and check out sort of the origin story of the creature that I've become.
Awesome.
So that's been on my mind a lot lately too, and kind of inspiring me to just fall back in love with just putting on these headphones
Hmm.
and letting hours pass by working on kind of everything and nothing. It's really more about being in the headphones for me than whatever the result is. So yeah.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh
love it. I love it so much. Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah. And you mentioned the sort of Patreon type element with Always New, and I feel like I am noticing, with the way the music industry kind of has gone, and obviously there's the throw it out to the masses, but there's also like there is more of a community of people who want to just kind of mainline to their listeners, and
Yeah, you're
there's
welcome.
yeah, yeah, and it is really cool. It's a really interesting new kind of way to follow a musician. I
Yeah,
know
it's
that
great. It's great.
for sure. Yeah, I don't know if you know Richard Edwards from Margot and the Nuclear So and So's. He does
Oh
a very
yeah,
similar
I
thing.
covered a tune of theirs a while back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does a very similar thing, and it is because that is like direct to the artist, and it's
Well, look, it's one of the only ways that people seem to be interested in paying for music anymore is this more direct conversational way.
Mhm.
So it's either be fucking whatever chapel and get a big
Yeah,
label and do a thing and blast it out and get billions of streams or whatever. And then it maybe adds up to something, I suppose, with the shows. I mean, someone is making money.
sure.
Uh, or it does seem like one way or another. And I love hearing that dude from Margaret and so's is doing a thing because I like when artists who are actually indie kind of DIY vibey artists do it because I do
Mhm.
think that's a really lovely way for fans to keep in touch. I I kind of flip around and hate it when larger artists do it.
Yeah,
Uh, because I'm protective of this infrastructure, and I think it's kind of gross when an artist who is playing stadiums or whatever is also milking people for
yeah.
whatever.
I have
Uh,
a
uh,
I feel you. I'm on the line. I don't know if
I
it's
mean,
the
it's
most.
all good either way. Again, I don't lose sleep over any of this. It's like being mad at the sun. I don't really care.
No, totally.
But
But there's
ultimately,
a
I'm a community kind of music creature, and
absolutely.
I love really big bands, and it's amazing. And with this internet infrastructure that has come up, I'm so happy for any
Mhm.
artist like me who has been able to keep going. And all you big motherfuckers stay out.
Yeah, I know James Blake started something similar where I'm like, are you are you I think you're too high for this.
A little bit. I remember when, I mean, not that they're huge anymore, but when it was many years back when Kickstarter was kind of going through this, where at first it was, yeah, lots of little scruffy people just doing stuff. And then, was it fucking Veronica Mars lady? What's her name?
Kristen Bell.
There you go. She did a crowdfunding thing for a new Veronica Mars movie. Zach Braff
Zach Braff did it,
crowdfunded a
yeah.
movie. I think that was the true
That was a little weird.
Fonzie jumping the shark one. That was like, no, just
Yeah.
go away. Go have a Hollywood lunch and do a thing. Don't get you don't be creepy and ask for $50 for people to get, like whatever, tickets. I don't know what it just and then a band called Toad the Wedge Sprocket did it. Not, and I got nothing but love for Toad. They're, I know some of those guys over the years and but yeah, they did this one. Oh, actually, no. The real jump in the sharker for me, and again, I don't dislike this person or whatever. I don't even know
Sure.
them. But is oh, she was married to the Guyman guy. Uh she was, oh man, can't remember her name. Anyway, she did one with him, and they had these some book or something that was like $250 with
Oh,
like a
jeez.
signature on it. And I was just sad. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, when Toad did it, they raised an absurd amount of money and had these sort of really high packages that I guess they're really rich Santa Barbara fans or something could do. But it
Right.
just, I don't know. And look, I got n no ground to stand on here. I've been doing this again my whole life, and
Hmm.
so who am I to say who can and can't do it? I just do have a thing about scale, and I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
be protective of my little community because I've been interested in this conversation for, yeah, 25, 30 years now, and never been interested in turning it into a mountain of money, just
Hmm.
interested in keeping going. And then when things I did got turned into very highly paid publicists sort of shouting out how their bands are like hanging out with the kids after the shows. It's like, no, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a selling point for a major, it's just ugh. And again, like I was on majors. It's not so anyway, it's not, none of it fucking matters. Let's stop talking about it.
Well, I mean, one thing with the as we talk about, throwing out to the masses, I've always been curious with uh a large artist how the feature with Lupe Fiasco came about.
Right. Well, through a large artist.
Yeah.
I had done a thing called Pollyanna that was on a thing called Songs for the Brokenhearted, this CD comp in 99, 2000, something like that. And then actually, it just came out on vinyl for the first time on the sketchbook thing, and it sounds so good.
Cool.
Okay. Anyway, so made this recording. However long after that, I literally get a call on my flip phone on tour in the van, and I can't really who it is. It's something about Lincoln Park. And I was like, what? What? And so we literally stopped the van. I'm like, who is this? He's like, it's Mike from Lincoln Park. And I was like, okay. I totally thought it was one of my friends goofing on me,
Right.
legit. And so I didn't know what to think about it. But anyway, he said, I heard Pollyanna. I love it. I always loved Far. And I'm doing a little, will you come down and do a recording session? I got some songs I want to hear you on. And so we went down and I did two or three Fort
Hmm.
Minor songs. Um,
Mm.
Where'd You Go, the big, huge one.
Hmm.
And then Red to Black, which is a really, really cool 6/8 hip hop song that's just killer. Uh, Maybe it was on another one. But anyway, another one was a Lupe song. And he wanted to use a loop from Nestle,
Hmm.
which is the Far song that hook is taken from. And I, I think I forget how it happened. Maybe it's that, yeah, he wanted the loop, and then he realized he couldn't use the loop exactly how he wanted to, so he wanted me to come in and re-sing it, basically.
Got it.
Um, so that's how that worked out. And then, yeah, and I love that Lupe track. And then just to circle it around, I've gotten to know Frack a little bit, that artist I was talking about.
Hmm.
And he, I'll just blow up his spot. He's dating my kid. And so we've really just sort of gotten into sort of talking about music together. And the most astonishing thing about that Lupe thing and how you never know where your ideas are going to go is that that song on that Lupe record, when this kid was like 12, was his
Yeah.
favorite fucking song, and Lupe was his favorite artist. He had not met my daughter. He had no idea, of course, who I was. He just heard this voice, and he always wrote. Um, and decades later, we meet, and somehow it comes out that either he found out through me or my daughter, uh, yeah, that I'm
That's
the
funny,
voice
huh?
on this track, and it just really it blew everyone's mind. It still kind of
Yeah,
blows my mind to say it. Uh,
man.
so
Life is
anyway,
funny that way.
yeah, it just you never know where an idea is gonna go. You
Uh-huh.
just never know. And so the Lupe thing, yep, bless you, Mike Shinoda. Love you. You're the sweetest person I've ever known with gazillions of dollars, and thank you for letting me in on your life, man.
That is awesome. And because I kept feeling like I'm like, there's no way Lupe was like listening to Far. And it's
Right. That would have been the cooler
like
story. I think I actually need to invent a story about that. Uh,
yeah, right.
I mean,
Alternate history.
but look, just to flip over to it, the one of my other dabblings in R&B culture um, is the far cover of Pony,
Hmm.
and that got really big, and Genuine had not listened to us before then, but did hear the song and invited me out to a San Francisco show and told me, "Thank you for helping to resurrect my career."
Oh, what?
So that happened.
And Genuine's like, I am a huge New End original fan.
I wish, right? Yeah, it hasn't come back around. I still
Yeah.
need Dre to call me and tell me he
Uh,
loves Sketch EP #1 and he really
yep.
wants to, or Jay-Z wants to do the Purple album with me and do my
Well,
songs with Flip.
Jay-Z worked with Mike, so
Right? No, I mean it's getting
it's
closer.
so close.
It's getting so maybe before I die, some amazing hip hop artist will call up and make my dreams come true and tell me listen to my weird little indie shit forever, and or
That
she.
is
Uh,
that is
my
me
biggest
with
my biggest dream is Beyonce. Let me sing a hook on a Beyonce track.
there you go.
That's just to put it out there to the world.
That would be amazing.
As long as in that hip hop R&B world, if I'm ever let in, man, let it be on a Rihanna record. Let it be on Beyonce. Woo!
Amazing. Yeah. That whole situation is me with like I feel like I'm getting so close to getting like an NBA player on here. Like
Yes,
it's gotta
yes, yes. And you
happen.
just kind of connect the dots, right?
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, and then all of a sudden, shit.
Like I,
Well,
I'm pretty sure JJ Redick is into like Silver Sun pickups. Like it's gotta happen.
hey, well, I don't know about indie music, but Derek White named his son Hendrix and regularly
Ooh.
wears very rock and roll oriented merch.
Okay.
So I know at the very least he's more into white people music. And even though Hendrix is black, of course.
Right.
But he's more into rock and roll and that
Hmm.
stuff. I have no idea if it extends. And yeah, it's cool. They really need to do this more. They need to have on, if they even did basketball cards, I'm sure they do, but it needs people's favorite songs and bands need to be on there. You
Yes.
can find these things.
Oh,
I think this is a
if
good
if they
idea.
don't do it, I will.
I think this is a worthwhile idea.
Yeah.
I don't know how we do it, but I think it
No,
might lead to having a player on there if we just start by hook or by crook compiling what we find out NBA players like.
get a survey out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember there was a base, I think it was the Sox actually a little while back. Someone on the Red Sox was totally in love with Dancing on My Own by Robine. Or Robin, or Chris Robine,
Yeah,
Cars drummer, so I always say her name Robine. But it might
yeah.
be Robin. Uh, anyway, whatever. And I love that track, but apparently that was the kind of clubhouse song, and that's definitely the least Dudley clubhouse song I've heard of.
Right.
I'm really
Yeah.
psyched on that. So I don't know. Once in a while it comes
Chaperone
around.
in the Red Sox clubhouse.
Oh man, come on, come on. Yeah. Anyway, I'm rooting for you, and
Yeah.
I hereby promise that I don't have any degrees of separation that I can think of with a pro ball player, but if I ever get one, I will think of you.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm sure Luke Cornett's into some cool shit or something.
He's certainly a cool guy, right? He's idiosyncratic and kind of freaky, and I
Right?
can see him being into pavement, you
He's
know?
into like some math rock or something. Yeah.
He could be into math rock. I
Yeah.
could see who else? Who else lists out? Let me think. I mean, shit, Jalen is a very, very wild-minded human. He might be into some amazing Afrofuturist shit. He might be into like Janelle Monáe or some shit, you know?
The
Uh,
only people I know for a fact listen to some sort of indie leaning music is Josh Richardson once made some tweets about it.
huh.
About liking like Interpol and like Fantagram and stuff.
Okay,
And then
okay.
also Jeremy Sohan posts some, he'll post some Mac Miller songs and stuff like that. I feel like
Yeah, Mac is kind
the
of
Gateway is
straddling.
like a beach
Yeah.
house and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, and Mac Miller might well be a kind of a gateway drug
Yeah,
too between
totally.
hip hop and indie shit and stuff. Anyway, I love that, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna do some thinking about this.
Well,
Who was?
let's talk about your Celtics.
All right, let's do it.
Let's talk about number 18. And I know when we were first talking, you said you'll come on after 18.
Yes, right.
So you were just superstitious.
Yeah, I just am a person who, I mean, look, when the night we won 18, we're up 3-0. Yeah, we get
Hmm.
blown out in four. First of all, that we lost game four and anyone was scared just says everything about Boston. It just, we cannot be okay until it's truly over. So I will say without shame that there was like 3 minutes left and we were up by a pretty good, I forget what the number was, but it took a couple of friends talking me off the ledge to be like, it's over. And in
Right.
fact, I think I was on some text thread and people were talking before the game was over. And I was like, shut the fuck up. I wasn't participating in the thread, wasn't into it. And then I think someone saw that weird moment when Kyrie went over to our bench during a timeout and was like
Hmm.
congratulating people with 3 minutes left in the game or whatever it was.
Strange.
Just bizarre Kyrie shit. Um, and that was when a friend texted to the thread, okay, now we can celebrate. Like
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
if Kyrie's literally
Yeah,
surrendering,
yeah, right.
it's just so,
Waving the white flag, yeah.
so weird. Anyway,
Um,
so yeah, that's Boston sports psyche. I know different people do it different. I'm sure that's true with Boston fans. We're not a monolith, but almost every serious Boston fan I know does not celebrate until it is
mhm.
oh fucking va.
As a Chicagoan, I completely understand.
Hmm,
Yeah.
come on. I mean, and just to be real, especially after the Sox won in '04, I was legit rooting for the Cubs. I just want to say that out loud. Um, they, I just love an underdog getting theirs.
Hmm.
I mean, gosh, at this point, so last time the White Sox did it, '05?
That's literally the only one in the past 100 years.
No shit, I didn't
Yeah.
know it was that bleak. I'm so sorry.
That's what
I
I mean. I'm a
always
Cubs fan, so
presumed.
we're good.
Oh, okay, you're a Cubbies fan. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But
Yeah,
the
White
White
Sox.
Sox are probably the worst sports franchise in all of sports right now. I really think so.
I've never liked them. And I've never had love from the way the Cubs did, but I have to admit, I never knew that it was that bleak for that
Hmm.
franchise. I think I would have I would have said, they got some in the 70s and 80s or something. I don't know, something. I don't
Yeah.
that's interesting to me.
I'm
Anyway,
trying to remember that there was some stat thrown out recently that the White Sox have had in their franchise history appeared in the playoffs 8% of the time, which just
wow.
feels very low.
That is so much lower than I would have guessed.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
not just, they just don't make the playoffs, which is such a bummer.
It's so interesting. I think the Cubs took all the oxygen in the woe begotten kind of Chicago
Yeah.
team thing because I would have answered all these questions that way for the Cubs,
Hmm.
but not for the White Sox. I would have thought that they were competitive. They won a few. Anyway, let's go back to the Celtics. Fuck
Yeah.
Chicago.
Well, yeah,
Sorry,
let's
love you.
talk Celtics. Yeah, what
Yeah.
are we talking
Anyway,
about?
no. So I mean, it was so exciting. It was a really fun season. I mean, we were so great all season, and it was real fun to watch and just watch the team gel. It's been really fun actually the past few years. I
Yeah.
mean, even with look, the 22 sucked. We were up. We should have won that series.
Yep.
Steph and Dre just completely hypnotized us and psyoped us and just did something and just did it. And
Hmm.
my hat is off to them. And it was a heartbreaker. And then that was first round, was it lost? It was first or second round loss to the Heat. Or no, 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 no. It was right, but it was right at the end, but still, it was the fucking Heat again. And to we that was the other way that Boston breaks you fucking hot is
Yeah.
we're down and then we come all the way back and then it's like yeah and Tatum has the ridiculous for the ages performance and D White has that just insane put back in
Hmm.
six and it just feels like oh my goodness and then Tatum gets fucking sidelined a minute into game 7 and it was just oh yeah I'm a Boston fan. Like it was just it just
You
which
remembered. Yeah.
I know that that sounds obnoxious at this point. I really do. It's just try to respect that I was born in 1969 and
Hmm.
spent until 1987 in Boston. So literally my whole formative life in and around Boston,
Yeah.
just watching just the most operatic of victories and defeats and mostly defeats in my childhood. I
Yeah.
mean, the Pats got into one Super Bowl in my childhood and got what was it 45-7, whatever that score was. It was like one of the most embarrassing Super Bowls ever. And I literally remember being on the couch just going, oh my God. And I mean, I think I was literally at the game in 78 as a little kid when Yaz popped up in
Mm.
that extra game of the season. So I've had my share. So I have been savoring. And this season, the past few seasons, watching them kind of come close to breaking through and having this fantastic run by any measure, even with all the just crushing almosts.
Sure.
To have this one, I got to admit, like a lot of people, when we got Drew, I was like, look, if we can't do it
Yeah.
with this guy who I've been scared of on the Bucks for the last bunch of years, then I don't know, we just got to blow it up or something. But when we got, I didn't know as much about Porzingis, but I knew he was really tall and
Yeah.
had great numbers. Just was injury prone.
Exactly.
And then Drew again. It's just I always admired him. He always kind of scared me. So and as much as I adored Marcus Smart, so beautiful, so many fun times watching that guy. It was we had to get rid of him. He was the Nomar of this time around. We had to trade Nomar, the team favorite back in the day, to get the pieces that won us '04. We
Mhm.
had to trade Smart to get us the pieces that won us this title. And when we upgraded from Smart to Drew, who's basically a much smarter version of Marcus
Yeah.
Smart, but
Yep.
with all of the toughness, even more defensive, strategic prowess.
Hmm.
Um, and all of the just everything. I just it was a really exciting time for me,
Yeah.
and uh, yeah, and I don't know. I know it's easy from outside Boston to really make a lot of fun of us, but the Celtics, they're the Celtics.
Yeah.
There's a real thing to that team that there is a sense of honor to it that I do think goes beyond sports and it is deeply embedded in the culture. And to see players buy into that, I think that's who works in Boston is people
Hmm.
who aren't afraid of getting into that mythology and Bird and Auerbach and Russell and the political history of the Celtics is the socio-political history of the Celtics, the winning history of the Celtics, the just all of it.
Yeah.
It's just a real thing. It was funny watching Winning Time, that Lakers thing that just
Oh yeah.
came out a little while back, because especially the way the whole show ended, it ended on a
Yeah.
Celtics win.
Canceled on the win. Yeah.
Canceled on the win. And it was, I felt almost, I never would ever feel bad for the Lakers or any of their fans, but just because beat LA. But I have to admit, as much as I was cackling with Schadenfreude, I was also like, that sucked. Like that sucked. The
Yeah.
Celtics were the most interesting thing about about the show.
Yeah.
And then they but I really want to see that dude who played Bird more. That was a
Yeah.
great Bird
I
performance.
feel like that the actors in that show in general were pretty solid
I
compared
thought
to the
the magic actor was great. I
yeah,
thought, and those were
the
the two.
Cream actor too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, the lesser known actors who had to play ball players, I thought did such a great job. And then they had really good character actors for the actual leads and stuff. I thought Riley was really good in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, Will Ferrell was pissed that
Yeah, there's a whole
he
story
didn't,
that he's
yeah, that
mad
he
he
didn't
didn't get
get
picked.
that. And I have to admit, I would like to see Ferrell take that on,
It
but
it
Riley was
ended
respected.
the friendship between him and
I
John C. Riley.
know, man. And then, oh yeah, Chickless is Auerbach. Man, I never
Yeah.
even thought about Chickless, but I wasn't a fan of his per se, but
Mhm.
he really got into he was Auerbach.
Yeah.
I was impressed. It was
Yeah.
cool. It was fun. Anyway,
And on the flip side,
yeah.
that show Clipped with that just
Oh
came
yeah, yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah. Wait, is
Awful
that out?
casting. Yeah, it's out. It's
Is it terrible?
I don't love it because it's harder. Those winning time. It's like those guys are all retired. It's a little different. Some of these guys in Clipped are still playing right now. Like
Wow, I didn't know that.
casting Blake
Wow.
Griffin right now is a little tough.
Wow, that
Chris
is tough.
Paul and yeah, it's bad.
Well, also just because the Clippers are such a sad franchise.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
partially what it's about, but yeah,
yeah,
it's
I know,
more
but that's
about
what I'm
the
saying. That's what I mean. It's like that just I don't know if I want to see that story. That just
yeah,
sounds like
true,
I didn't want to hear about the shit in real life. I mean, that was some dark
fair,
shit. That team has been through some dark shit. I would really
yeah,
not be psyched to be a Clippers fan just because they've had some really, really rough periods in their
very
history.
true.
Uh,
Um,
and again, Boston has too, but we've also had the wins at this point to make up for it. But anyway.
yeah, and so when we also talked, you also did call me a hater, which I'll admit I was being a bit of a hater.
Well, everyone
And
was, and it was a good line. It was true.
it's
The East was
absolutely,
banged up this year. It was. It
but
just, yeah,
allow me to be a
yeah.
hater for a minute.
Hell yeah,
And
give it
I
up.
want you
Yeah,
to
yeah.
defend this run for the
Yeah.
Celtics. I want you
Oh,
to the
easy.
listeners,
Yeah.
I want you to tell me why it wasn't such an easy path.
Oh, great. Yeah, yeah. Here's what I got for you. Two people that we got in the draft years and years ago who almost always in this league get traded around and traded up for, and then stars gather and ring chase and do the things. They did it. We did this homegrown. Even the people we got, I think honestly, the Kyrie thing was a real misstep for us because we
Sure.
tried to get a star and we couldn't not take him at that point. It was too good a deal, whereas it seemed. But again, it turned out to totally burn us. And nothing against him, whatever, it's all good. But I don't think he's a fit for Celtics culture.
Hmm.
Horford's a fit. Holiday's a fit. Derek White is a fit. Anyone with too big an ego, frankly, even Smart, bless him, they aren't a fit for what we do. And so my defense of this team is that the reason, even though Vegas knew we were, and we'd won everything for the past bunch of years except the big one, the reason we were so underrated, we were simultaneously, people would talk shit because in the playoffs we were facing people without their stars and stuff.
Hmm.
And why I bring up Brown and Tatum, why I mean this is because durability matters, it
Yeah,
turns out. And so, yeah, it's not a stat, but we have players that can keep playing. So if you've
true.
built a team around a megastar who is fragile, I don't know why people aren't complaining about that team and they're complaining about the Celtics. And then beyond that, we were underrated because we did not build a team the way everyone else was building a team. Our team is an actual team. The
Yeah,
whole Brown Tatum fight and everyone, frankly, criticizing the Celtics all forever since they started up, and especially this year, it's because people didn't get it. We weren't trying to do Doncic and Irving. We weren't trying to
yeah,
do LeBron and AD. We were trying to do homegrown, find the right people for our thing, and it actually worked. And look,
yeah.
and yeah, it wasn't Joe, Nicola and Murray, who the Nuggets to me, even though look, and if there's one team that I'm really psyched we didn't face, it's the Nuggets. So I will cop to that. I
Well, I
think,
was gonna
yeah,
say the
yeah,
Timberwolves would have been a good series to watch.
it would have been fun to watch, but I think we would have smoked them. See, here's the thing: you're still underrating us.
It's fair.
We we just won. What we go this year, including the playoffs, like 81-20 or something? Like we just had a run. We
Mhm.
went through the playoffs at what, 14-3, I think. And yeah, sure, you can talk all you want about the East, but frankly, we had been beating those teams with
Yeah,
their stars all year. So there's no
very true.
reason to think that the Bucks or the Sixers would have been that competitive. Yeah, could have been some more games, could have been a little more feisty, but we beat them anyway. And
Yeah.
then the West, yeah, you're right. I'm happy that we're not in the West because the West is just this war of attrition by
It
the time the
is.
plan comes around.
The
There's
future is
just,
interesting for the West.
yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Let's see what happens. I think there's a power balance flipping right now. And yeah, we'll see what goes. I am I'm still terrified of the Nuggets. I am
Thunder
officially
will be interesting in the
I'm officially
future.
terrified of the Thunder at this point.
Yeah,
That was the first thing I was gonna say.
yeah.
Uh, and George to the Sixers, I don't really see it ultimately, but it could be insane. And Maxi scares me. Um, Embiid, I know should, and when he's healthy, does. But that's the thing is that when he's healthy, precedes everything about that guy at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I still think people still can't quite wrap their head around how dominant the Celtics have been in the East,
Mhm.
and now they won the thing. And I'm not sure I mean, look, everyone's gonna now's what's funny. Everyone's trying to be us now.
Yeah.
Everyone's now trying to I'll get all the shooters, get the perimeter, do the thing. They're gonna have to work out how to ease out of their two stars thing and into a more team-centric thing because all a lot of the West has, very including the Mavericks, who we've
Yep.
not. And people were look, many very smart people were picking the Mavs in this series. And I am not even a basketball guy. I'm just a Boston guy, so I just talk about it. I knew how good a matchup the Celtics were for the Mavs.
Yeah.
I could see the Mavericks play. I was way more scared, sure of the Wolves, especially when the Wolves took out the Nuggets. Of course, everyone was scared of them. Everyone was like, "Wait,
Yeah.
what the fuck just happened?" Um, but I'm still more scared of the Nuggets. I think we would have handled the Wolves. I still think the Nuggets would have given us a real problem and maybe beaten us. Uh, and but the Mavs, I shit you not, was never scared. I was never really scared of the Clippers. I was a little scared of the Thunder.
Mhm.
Uh, but all of them, I could look across and here's what's cool about the Celtics, always has been. We're fucking ugly. We do not look good, truly. From Bird and McHale and Parrish and Johnson, Pearson Garnett, neither of them are on GQ anytime soon. Um, and now
Oh,
the
you mean
21st.
literally ugly?
I mean literally physically ugly. I mean literally physically ugly. No, I think we actually play quite beautiful basketball, especially this year. I mean, look, I'll cop to this too, being a former Bay Area kid, for the last 20 years. We took we were the first team to successfully do what the Warriors did.
Mm,
We did it differently, and we didn't have a zenith the zenith that is Stephen Curry.
right.
I mean, just a literal game-changing human being. We didn't have that, but the Warriors were, to me, the first time in the NBA to really have shooters all around. I mean, not Draymond, but he's his own weird animal.
Mhm.
But we copied them and we upgraded them. But even them, I guess Tatum's kind of cute. And I mean, actually, Drew is a truly sexy human being. So now we do have someone pretty, actually. I take it back. And I guess Horford's pretty too in his way. Someone that tall it's
Don't
always
hate
been
on
weird.
Peyton Pritchard like that.
Oh, no, no, no. You don't understand. I love them. Peyton is an ugly little rat looks like he's from Southie. He looks like he would beat the shit out of you after he like sold you a dime bag and then came around the corner with his
Well,
buddies.
rats are in right now. I don't know if you've seen that.
No,
Dudes who look like
Pritchard,
rats are in.
I love Pritchard so much.
Yeah.
He's a classic Celtic to me, but all of them are. D. White, classic Celtic. That play, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you've done this the way I have, but of course I've been pouring through every super slow-mo highlight.
Yeah.
And the play where D White gets his teeth knocked out
Hmm.
is one of the most incredible Celtics basketball sequences I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that in the middle of it, someone is getting like scarily injured says everything to me
Yeah.
about what I love about the Celtics.
That's a
And
great point. Yeah.
so that the reason people don't get it is because we're kind of all over the place. We don't look like sexy and sweet and cool or whatever. Um, And even a lot of our players, D White's kind of an awkward looking player.
Right.
Drew Holiday, I don't understand how he gets all the things he does under the rim. I literally don't get it because it doesn't look like he has all of this magic speed or hops or anything. He just somehow knows the fundamentals of basketball in a way that even fans, including me, don't quite get it.
Right.
How, like how he pulled off that steal, uh, off the Pacers dude. Um, that was astonishing. And it was
Hmm.
all footwork and basketball fundamentals that have a little bit, I think, been forgotten in the age of the three-pointer and the sick handle and all the things. Is just there's all this stuff about footwork and positioning that again, I don't understand this stuff, but I hear
Right.
them talk about it. And it's my
Yeah.
own explanation for why we're so good. It just and I love Missoula. And I loved him from the start.
Hmm.
I always love the no timeouts. I love the psychotic movie quotes. I love his like 1,000 yard
Yeah.
stare, like serial killer
What
stare.
movie did he have them
The
watch?
town, the town was his, which isn't even a good movie, but I love that he's into it, and it's a very Boston movie, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, but he's into that. No, I mean, and then in the last thing they were, talking about was that he was showing him Ultimate Fighting shit, which I actually hate.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Disgusting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's the Ultimate Fighting shit because he was showing him how right before someone gets choked out is one of the most dangerous because the person who thinks they're going to win thinks they've won and relaxes and so he's talking about that and then they get blown out up 3-0 by the hungrier team. And so I thought that was so poetic that they got that lesson in game 4 and then kind of buckled down like okay. And then the
Did you
Garden
uh did you
yeah.
also appreciate Tatum's corniness? Because
Tatum, that's it. Tatum is so corny. He is so corny. I think it's cute, but even I, again, as a Celtics fan, he is he's just so cutely awkward.
yeah.
And that whole we did it, I, I do think it was so weird. I think he is so innocent. He came to the league so young, such a spotlight on him. He really doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a little kid. But it really did seem like he was basically impersonating Garnett. It was just a
All everyone.
yeah,
It felt like he had like a vision board for what he's gonna
right,
do
exactly
when
like
he won
he.
the championship.
Thank you. That's perfect. You know that Tatum and his mom have a vision board. And
He's
I'm
got
here
the
for
Kobe
it.
picture with the trophy and
Right, but well, that part I even understood more because I knew how much he loved Kobe. So that
yeah,
felt to me more like a straight up tribute to this player. I finally have the Larry O'Brien. Of course, I'm gonna hold it like Kobe did.
sure.
That actually felt like a sweet. Of course, I'm gonna post a shot like I would do that a million times over. It was more the we did it thing because even when he was, especially when he was totally overwhelmed by the moment, he does pretty much the exact same cadence if anything is possible. I
Yeah,
mean, I went back and looked at the Garnett thing, and Garnett too says kind of almost under his breath, like anything's possible. And then he leans back, anything's possible. And the iconic one,
yeah.
and we did it was weird. It was exactly like that. It was so weird.
Well, there was
So
another one too. There was like
there's another one. There's a third
have-
one. Jesus.
there's a couple because there was where Steph when they won, he did what they're gonna say now. What they're gonna say now.
That's a step thing.
That was a Steph
Oh
thing.
my
And then
God. That was
also at the after
that was the
party,
cute one. That's
he did a Kanye quote.
well, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was just dubious for different reasons. But
Hilarious.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure
I
Kanye's the
think
one
all
to
of that
quote these days.
pales in comparison, like whatever, to years ago when he did. There was like he posted the picture of him texting Kobe, his Kobe's
Oh,
number. It's like
see,
it's kind of heartbreaking, but oh no,
here's what I like. I like, and I swear, I'm not just being a Boston homer here. I like players, and why I'm enjoying this nerdy Tatum thing is A, again, he's nerdy. He clearly doesn't understand. Anyone who knew what the cool thing to do was would not have done any of the things he did.
Well, he's
And I
still a little
like
kid.
that's what I mean. That's what I was getting around to. He is a
Yeah.
little kid inside, and I love that. My favorite baseball player ever, and of course, favorite Red Sox player is Manny Ramirez.
Hmm.
And yeah, obviously the roids and the things and all the things at the end, whatever. I'm not trying to defend that or whatever. All I know is that that guy played the game like a 12-year-old, for better and for worse.
Yeah,
And I cannot get enough of pro athletes playing like they're still playing Pop Warner. Like
absolutely.
I'm so into it. So Tatum's whole thing, I don't really get it, but I do put it in that innocent thing because it's not even like it's calculated, or even if it is calculated, it's calculated like a 12-year-old would calculate
Yeah.
it. It's like it's not someone more clever about optics would pick all these other cool moments to reference, or come up with their own rad cool
Yeah.
thing and it would go viral. Tatum, yeah, you had me at vision board. I love that. I love vision board. That's brilliant. I'm
Well,
gonna stick with that. It's so
I'll
good.
stop hating on the
Oh no,
Celtics now.
it's you
I
give
am
it all to me.
genuinely happy,
No,
especially for the
give it all to me.
fans. Especially
As
for
a
the
Boston
fans.
fan, all I do is look down on you. It's okay. Like it's just you can give me all of the hate you want. I've been a Patriots fan for the last bunch of years.
Yeah.
You know, I have heard it all.
Hmm.
And the Sox, now they suck again. It's almost comforting. Because when we were dominant, we were all of a sudden we were the Yankees. It's like, oh, this is depressing. But it was wonderful. So no, give me all the hate you want. I truly and sincerely totally get it. I really do. I get it. We have had a ridiculous wave of fortune since 2001. I can't even tell you how surreal it is for
Yeah.
me. So any fan from any other city that wants to hate us, I'm in. I'm with you. I would be you. I have no problem. And trust me, no matter how great a point you ever have or how much we embarrass ourselves, I still look down on you because we have won, well, how many titles between all the sports in the past? I mean, it's so
Well,
stupid at this
Red
point.
Sox have four.
Four. Pats have six. Uh,
Celtics have two now.
Celtics have two now. Bees have one
Uh-huh.
since the turn of the millennium. So 6, 10,
You're doing all
12.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any other city since 2000 is within miles. I don't know. I don't really know. So,
Definitely not New York because that's all baseball.
and again, my favorite baseball teams are the Red Sox and whoever's beating the Yankees. And the fact that the Yankees have spent just who knows how much money and they still can't do it. Uh and even though I'm sad we lost Mookie, I really kind of love anytime a Sox star doesn't go to the Yankees and beat us is a victory for me.
Well, second best. He
Anytime,
went to the Dodgers.
yeah, right, but I don't it nothing is like the Yankees or the Lakers for me, and I don't even have an
True.
equivalent to hockey because I don't care about hockey that much. I
Yeah.
love the
Same.
Bruins, but I really, really, really don't know any other teams.
Right.
But Lakers and Yanks, as long as they lose, I win.
Love to hear it. um, well, that's great, man. And I'm
It's a
again
blast,
happy
by the way. This is hilarious. I love chopping it up. I just
for sure.
It's really fun. Again, I couldn't do this about any other basketball. I watched so much of this year from the Celtics, and then from the postseason, kind of got so much commentary and all that. I
Right.
kind of know my way around a little bit, but truly, I don't know anything about any sport that isn't Boston related. So that was another reason why I wouldn't have been much good to you. I guess I would have talked about how much I like the Celtics, but truly, I can't even branch out much.
Well, that's why I love doing this. Is I'm not here to talk about like the analysis of games or players. I like talking
Right.
to fans.
Yeah, that's to me. Speaking of being a little kid, I was in 2001. I'm making the New End original record. I'm stressing out. Norman says to me, Norman Brandon now and Thursday and doing all these things, but
Hmm.
from New End in Texas and all that stuff, says to me, man, you need a hobby. You need to you need to calm down. And I knew he was right. And so I thought, what would be good? And then I remembered that I liked watching the Sox as a little kid. It kind of soothed me to to just listen to the games and go to the games, and there was just something about it. And baseball's such a long season, so I thought I'm going to start watching the Red Sox again, and it was really lovely. And then, of course, this amazing ramp up through three and
Didn't have
four.
to wait long. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, three got one more punch in the face. Bless you, Boone. Uh, but then we win it. So yeah, that was very satisfying. But it really did start in a little kid place, and ultimately that's my thing. The
Mhm.
only time I really watch sports actively are either A, when a Boston team is in the playoffs, or because I really don't even watch Red Sox games, just listen to them like an old
Yeah.
man. It's hilarious.
That's the best.
And I love it so much. I'm glad you like it too. And then the Pats, really, there's a lot to not love about football, and frankly about the Pats organization. But that said, I watched all those games and all those wins in the home of my high school buddy who lives in Oakland when I was in the city, when I was in San Francisco, not New York City, in San Francisco. And, his middle daughter's my goddaughter. He basically helped me raise my daughter. So it was a real family affair, young, sweet feeling thing. It wasn't like I was watching the Pats win in like sports bars. It just
Right,
wasn't.
right.
It's a much more social,
Yeah.
emotional thing for me than anything else. So yeah, so I'm glad you dig that.
Awesome. Um, so the last thing I like to do is it's like a
Yeah, yeah,
little bit of a game.
yeah.
I don't know if you saw my note, but I'd
Oh yeah.
love for you to build a
Okay, cool.
band out
Yeah,
of NBA players.
I love it. Uh, we should know that they're probably all going to be Celtics players, but let's see
I
if
kind
someone.
of figured.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, again, it's not even me trying to be a homer. I just don't know the personality. You know what? I'll slip in some others. I'll make it a relatively, not like a large band, but I'm going to put keyboards in the band and stuff to give myself a couple extras. I think Larry Bird is a bass player. I'm just going to say
Mm,
that right
okay.
now. Larry Bird is a classic big bass player.
Just based on how he looks.
Yep, just his whole vibe.
Yeah.
So okay, so wait, here's my thing. I'm gonna let me just set this up. I think that rock and roll band musician archetypes are pretty much like astrological symbols. Um, I think a drummer is a drummer is a drummer, a bassist is a bassist, a guitarist is a guitarist, like a singer is a singer. They're all deeply embedded personality types that
Okay.
almost always run through every significant rock band. Um, so why the bass, Larry's this the bassists often are the quietest people in the band, kind of the leaders in the band in this strange way. Uh, Often some of the better musicians in bands. I think of John Paul Jones and Led Zeppelin, who, a lot of great musicians in that band, but John Paul Jones was a secret weapon. And Bird, I know he was a massive star, but he's just a bassist, so I'm gonna just put him, and I can't not have
Okay.
Larry Bird in my band. Um, on vocals, I think it's just a little nod to myself. I think I'm just gonna put, Little White Boy. I think Pritchard could rip it up in a fucking hardcore band. I can see it, I
That's
can
good.
feel it. Uh, he's just got the aggression.
I mean the shaved head,
Everything. That's what I'm saying. He's a
yeah.
little East Coast hardcore kid. I mean, it's
It's kind
just
of got
ridiculous.
like a little bit of like a Napoleon like aggressiveness.
Yeah,
Short
yeah.
guy with like a big
That's
attitude.
what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, even though well, actually, how do we know how tall Peyton Pritchard is? I never can tell with basketball players because they're all so tall that
You're
it's
right.
hard to
It is very
get
hard
a
to
sense.
tell, but I feel
So I
like he
think he is
is
like 6 foot or something,
six
but
one.
6'1". Okay, but he looks 5'9", which is
Right,
really
right.
tight on the basketball court.
He looks like I don't know if you know Froggy Fresh. He was like an
That's a
internet rapper.
fantastic name. Oh my
He was like a meme internet rapper.
Well, that's the thing. Pritchard, I mean, who was it? Who was it that was making fun of him on a telecast and was like, he looks like a crypto bro.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a relatively interesting call, but did you say Froggy Fresh?
Froggy Fresh, formerly known as Krispy Kreme.
Yeah,
Check him
that
out.
is
Check
who
him
Peyton
out.
Pritchard looks like. I
Yeah.
don't even know the guy, but if you had just said there's no one ever called this, but Peyton Pritchard is an internet rapper called Froggy Fresh, I would be like, yes, you're totally correct. So that wins for sure. On guitar, I'm gonna put D White just because the Hendrix thing and the classic rock thing. I
Hmm.
have no idea if he can do it or not.
Take the headband, turn it into like the tying, Jimi Hendrix headband.
100%, 100%. I see it. I hope he plays left-handed just like Hendrix. That'd be
Yeah.
really fun. Um, let's see.
You need a drummer, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saving drummer. Um, I'm gonna go over to keys and give Horford some love because often the person, no, I take it back. Sorry, Horford. You're gonna go maybe somewhere else. Tatum is the keyboardist because the keyboardists are nerds. It's just always true. They're just hopeless nerds. They're really psyched to be in the band. They're always doing way too much. You don't really do, when you play a piano, you just, especially a keyboard, you can only hit it so hard. It Nothing happens, but they still make guitar faces when they're playing the
Yeah.
keyboards. And so I just think that's really funny. So I'm gonna put Tatum on keys. Um, shit, man, I'm gonna put Brown on the drums.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Brown on the drums. And I'll branch out just for fun and for my friend Zach, who I've known since third grade from Boston. His his favorite team right now is the Nuggets, which is totally blasphemous, but I kind of get it. Um, and I don't know how to say his name, but Nikola Jokic,
Jokic.
Jokic. I'm gonna put him on second guitar just because that dude makes me smile every time I see him. I thought his post game, post victory, post ring things
Amazing.
last year. Oh, just my favorite.
So pure.
Almost, yes, so exactly, so pure. And that's the thing is that's he had he I kind of wish he was on the Celtics. He could be on the Celtics. He's a big, ugly, pure basketball player.
Working class guy.
Just wants to get back to his home. I loved when he was like, "Oh, the parade is until next week. I wanted to go back home." Like, and
I
he
want to
was,
see my
it
horses.
was so sincere.
Well, what I love too is like what you like about Tatum is he acts like a kid, but like it's kind of like the opposite for Jokic, but he's in it's still endearing where he's like, this is my job. My job is done.
Well, and you know that he's been that since he was a kid at
You're
11.
right.
Like that's the thing. He's always been that, I think. I
It's
think he's
like
just
the
like,
six year
this is
old
my
who's
job.
like
I will
trying to
do it
start
well.
businesses.
Totally.
Yeah.
And is precocious. I
Yeah.
mean, and is like kind of making more money than you would think selling
Right.
lemonade and like, okay.
Yeah.
And just
He's
be
gonna
and
be
he
a
comes in
star.
with
Yeah.
his little sheet, and he's just like
Right.
got his little glasses on. Just those kids that are like 8 going on 40.
Right.
That's Jokic. Like
Totally.
he's so and then he did the Despicable Me thing. I don't know, man. It's just fun. It's fun. So I just gotta have him in the band.
Your
Anyways,
band's amazing.
that's
It's
a good band.
well rounded. Uh
Really fun.
that's
Thank you for this,
incredible.
man. I've laughed a
Absolutely.
lot during this podcast. This has been really sweet.
Well, yeah, it's honestly, it's been great having you on, dude. I
Thanks,
think
man,
that's
so much.
kind of all I have, but
It's great. Yeah.
it's congratulations again on Celtics, and
Thanks, man. And truly, so
maybe
wait, so Chicago. So are you still Chicago?
I am in Chicago. Yep.
Okay. Well, uh, the Bulls don't have a prayer anytime soon,
Nope.
but you have a rich, rich history. I'm really glad the Cubs won. I now kind of want the White Sox to do something again now that you've told me how sad it is. But really,
It's the
I'd love to see
problem.
the Bulls come back. I don't want to see the Bulls come back and beat us, but I'd love to see the Bulls. I would love to be in a second round with the Bulls sometime soon.
Yeah.
Just because
I mean,
I've always,
I'm thinking back to I think it was maybe the year you guys won, but we had a very fierce series in I think 2009 maybe.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was the last time I remember the Bulls being
That was intense.
because was that no, that was pre-Rose. Who?
It was Kirk Heinrich, it was
Oh,
Joakim, it
nice.
was
Oh, ooh, Joakim Noah or whatever that
yeah,
dude. Yeah.
I
Ooh,
think
yeah.
Ben Gordon, Luol Deng.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
I remember Rondo. I think Rondo checked Kirk Heinrich into the scores announcers table, and it was heated. Good
I
series.
love those kind of series, frankly. I do. I
Yeah,
love I don't love dirty series. I actually don't love playing the Heat because the way they play is a kind of a gross, grimy way of playing basketball. I get that it wins, I get it, but I'm not interested I feel like everyone always ends up hurting those games.
right.
I love really competitive, gritty, everyone's going for the ball games. And that's what I loved about the Bulls. And I kind of want to see them get back. Yeah, I just want to see them get.
Fingers crossed.
All
Yeah.
right, man. I'm rooting for you, man. Seriously.
But yeah, thanks again for coming on, man. It's been great talking.
Anytime, man. Say hi anytime. Let's keep it going, man. And I
Yeah.
swear to you, any connection I get with any pro ball player, I will think of you and do my best to just get it one little more
Love
of the
it.
connected. All right.
Doing the hard work.
Hell yeah.
Thanks.